We are back with another tower video, and some of these are a little bit of a doozy, but I am going to give you some input on these whenever I feel like it's necessary. Of course, for the survive levels, it's pretty self-explanatory if you just watch whatever stage you're having trouble with, but there are a few of these that are a little bit tricky, and I will input my voice at the beginning of the floor if there's anything tricky about it. So for this stage, it is a big question mark, but all you're going to want to do is go to the bottom, destroy this little totem pole here, and then you will actually be able to damage the mobs, and you will clear this easy peasy. For this stage, what you're going to want to do is just follow exactly what I do. Just kind of tiptoe through the stage, dash, use your spacebar if you need to get out of a corner, maybe, or if you walk yourself into a dangerous situation, don't be afraid to use a movement skill or spacebar. But after the rest of these explosions here, there's going to be a little phase where there's going to be a guy in the middle and some golden orbs spawning. Now, I just ran over the orbs and I hit them. I'm not sure if you have to run over them and just touch them or if you have to hit them. I'm pretty sure you just have to run over them. But it seemed to me that that is how I was able to pass this level. So you're just going to want to run over the orbs and you will not get destroyed by this massive blast that this dude is going to hit the ground and boom, typically you die, but I guess absorbing some or one of those golden orbs gives you a debuff maybe. I wasn't paying too much attention, but I just knew that when I touched them or hit them, I guess for me, I passed the level. So run over them, touch them, whatever you need to do, and you will pass this, no problem. For this floor, you are mostly going to want to stay right beside this boss or in very close proximity. Sometimes they will do a little bit of an attack like that where they follow you around and hit you multiple times, or try to. Just run around in a circle because there's usually going to be a blue AoE, just like you're seeing now on the screen, that's going around you constantly. So it's better to just run around them in a circle. That way you're not getting hit into the blue AoE by the attack from the boss. So just be very careful, be very patient on this boss level, and try to stay as close as possible for the most part. I actually really enjoyed this survive level. I thought it was definitely unique, and the biggest suggestion and biggest tip that I could give you for this stage is to make sure that whenever these little bomb guys are released, try to set them off as soon as possible. Don't run around the map and try to delay them coming to you and setting off their explosion, because if you do, then what's going to happen is Seto is going to freeze you, and then you're going to have to type and you're going to get blown up by those guys. So try to set off their explosions in a relatively quick manner whenever like this bunch comes out. That way they're all done, they're gone, and then you can focus on the typing and dash. Or if you're super quick, unlike me, then you can just walk out of that. But that's pretty much the biggest piece of advice that I have for you on this stage. This was also a very interesting fight. So the fight isn't too hard really at all, and you just need to be a little bit patient, but there is one attack that is a one-hit kill, and that is whenever you will see this red AoE just right there at the top left corner. Sometimes you will have like a clone that pops out, and he will do that cone-shaped attack, but he can also do that cone-shaped attack just like you just saw as well, and it's a one-hit kill. So just make sure to be on the lookout for his clone to pop up and do that attack, or for him to do that attack, and you need to be able to dash out of it. And it can be really bad because some of his attacks, like that one, slow you down immensely. So it's a very dangerous situation that you don't want to be in. So try to just be patient, avoid his attacks, and be on the lookout for that cone-shaped AoE big boy attack. Avoid it and you'll be good. On this floor, you really just have to be patient. I did not enjoy this fight very much because the robots or the mechs will spawn on the outside of the map, and if you're already on the outside of the map, it can put you in a really weird position where you can get trapped and things like that. So it is a little bit annoying, but overall, just be patient. And the one attack that you have to be ready for, and I'm not sure if it's at each line that she loses of health, like for example, when she goes to ×4, ×3, ×2, and ×1 on her total lines of health left, but she will turn around really quick or teleport and turn around and try to grab you, as you just saw just a little bit ago. And she gets me a couple times, even though I try to dash away. I try to use my awakening. There's a couple times I tried to get away on the several times that I attempted this floor until I got it. But it seems that the best course of action is to just recognize it as early as possible and dash out of her initial line from her dash, and you'll be just fine. And I do that successfully here in just a bit. But overall, it's not too hard of a floor. You just got to be a little bit patient and don't rush the fight, and you should be just fine. This is a very interesting boss fight. I really enjoyed this one. And the major mechanics that you have to watch out for are that every line or two that you do to this boss's health that go missing because you destroyed him, as you will see here, he will get a shield that pops up. And what happens is he will start releasing these white balls out from the middle of the map. And they do a lot of damage, but you can also get slowed. So that is that is a recipe for disaster. And what happens as you progress through the fight is that those little stages where he's basically invulnerable and he's shooting out damage balls, it gets harder and harder because there's more and more balls that you have to avoid. So what you need to make sure and do is pay attention to where the explosions are happening on the outside of the map. So whenever he starts going into this phase, you already know where to run so that you have a little bit of room to dodge and avoid those white damage balls. As you'll see, I try to do my best to do that in this stage, but what you should also do is bring a time stop for this stage, just in case you have to use it if you're in a bad position and you're pretty deep into the fight. Like this phase, for example, I was pretty fortunate. Again, just looking at the top, that's where most of the explosions were not happening, so that's where I started to run. But even then, I still took quite a bit of damage, and I actually believe I used the time stop on the next damage reduction phase that he has. So as long as you are paying attention to that major mech and thinking ahead a little bit, looking at where the explosions are, you will be just fine. Floor 48 is another stage that I really enjoyed because it's kind of like a survival stage and a boss phase, or in a boss stage. So what you need to do is, again, just be patient and take your opportunities to do damage whenever you see them, but pay attention to all the other things that are happening. Again, this is kind of like a survival slash boss floor. But as long as you're doing that, you should be just fine. There are a couple of one-hit kills, like for example, that attack that you just saw. I'm almost 100% sure that it one-hit killed me once. So I'm not sure if it just did a lot of damage or if it is pretty much just a one-hit kill on eye level at 1580. So be careful for that. But for the rest of his attacks, they do moderate damage, but they shouldn't one-hit kill you, I don't believe. But again, just be patient, take your chances, and be aware of all the other little enemies that and the attacks that they are doing, so that you can avoid them and then get back in there and do a little bit of damage until he is gone. This is without a doubt the most annoying floor that I experienced for myself in this tier 3 tower, because the attacks and damage reduction phases are just really annoying. They are extremely frustrating because I was trying to use my Punisher engraving on this floor, and it was really just, it was taking a long time, because when you do a lot of damage, I was only able to get off 1 or 2 skills within my Punisher's burst, and then I'd have to chill because of the damage reduction phases. So it was really annoying. So a decent, consistent DPS class, I think, is the way to go on this stage if you have that engraving choice. It definitely felt better to me to use Predator instead of Punisher on this stage. But these are the 2 bosses from the Moon phase in Argos Gates 2, and they work together to be quite annoying. There is a couple of wipe mechanics, one of them being from this big blocky dude, and you will see it. It is telegraphed. He will have a damage radius that is near him. And you will have to just move out of it. It's very simple. Just kind of stay away from him whenever he's charging up to do his bigger attack. He'll just kind of sit there and point his, or hold his hand to the sky, and that's when you know, just kind of run away, but don't run directly away from him. Run kind of around him, around the map. That way, If he's doing his other wipe mechanic, or it's not actually a wipe, it just does a ton of damage, then you will not get one hit killed. It's like a laser beam type of thing, so that way you can just avoid both of them. Just get away from them and run away. That way you're not standing in the same place or in the same line of fire. Now, for the second guy that you will have to fight right after him, he actually does have a full-fledged wipe mechanic that I could not figure out how to delay or get by without a time stop. So you will see that here in just a bit. So make sure and bring a time stop for this fight, because I'm not actually sure how to, again, cancel that or get out of it. I tried staying close to him, behind him, very far away from him on the other side of the map. I tried to stagger him. He didn't have a counter, so I wasn't quite sure what to do. I think I even tried to sleep bomb him at one point. I could be mistaken on that one, but I wasn't sure what to do. So I just brought a time stop and that worked. I'm sure there is a technique, a way to do it, but I could not figure it out, and I did not have any more patience to try to figure it out. So just make it easy on yourself, bring a time stop, and it happens around the 1 to 2 bars left time frame. So when you get around 1 bar or a little bit less, be expecting this to happen, and you will see that it's not a red AoE telegraph, but instead it looks like the ground is kind of rippling, and you will see that I actually had to use a time stop right there because I thought that that's what he was going to do, but he didn't. So it's happened shortly after I get my time stop cooldown back, and then that is when he actually does it. So be paying attention to that, but as long as you can get past that, you're going to be right as rain. Just be patient. I know the damage reduction phases are quite annoying on this fight, but once you get past this level, floor 50 is quite simple compared to this fight, in my opinion. This was probably my favorite fight out of any of the 3 towers. It is very unique, and I really enjoyed it. It only took me 2 or 3 times to get this, but the major thing that you need to be focusing on is not getting hit, because he doesn't do a lot of damage when he does hit you initially. However, you get these stacks that increase the damage that you're going to be taking, plus it is a burn or like a bleed. So you don't want to be doing that. Now, as you just saw, the counter is important. Whenever you see that he has an entire, or the entire floor is going to get hit with a red AoE, make sure, get in front of him, counter it. So save your counter for that attack. That way you can avoid taking damage, you can avoid getting burned, you can avoid all of it that comes with it. So make sure and save your counter for that. But you have 3 of him that you have to kill, and each one's a little bit different. As you can see, I'm having to run around in a circle doing damage to this guy. Again, a consistent DPS class is going to be more well suited for this fight on eye level, I believe, just because it's easier to consistently get damage off as you're running around avoiding these patterns, because again, your main objective here is just to not get hit by these attacks, because he doesn't have that much health, even though you have like 30 minutes or something to beat this level. Again, there's the counter, so make sure you do that. The third version of this guy that you have to kill is very, very cool. I really enjoyed it, but also you're going to want to bring time stops on this map, or for this floor as well, because it is going to help you on the 3rd floor, because he does have an attack where he will wall off most of the way to the safe zone. So he'll do an outside safe So he will do an outside safe attack where you go outside, but then he will have like a gate up basically, and the next one is inside safe. So there's only 2 little spots I believe that you can get in to get into that inside safe position. And that's why if you are not able to get in, you can use a time stop. I think I got hit on most of them, and I was okay because I hadn't gotten hit from a lot of little attacks beforehand, so the damage wasn't too bad. I just had to use a potion, but it is good, of course, to just not get hit. And whenever he's doing his attacks like this, especially on this stage, just focus on not getting hit. You can see I was getting a little impatient on some of these, and I was actually swinging towards the middle part of this fight on the 3rd guy. But yeah, don't be like me. Just be patient and you will be perfect. But this is that attack that I was talking about. It's inside safe, and then outside safe, and then it actually went back to inside safe. So you have to be vigilant on looking for those things. And again, just use your time stop if you need it. But other than that, you just have to pay attention to all the attacks. Try to avoid as many as you can. That way you're not racking up any damage increase stacks. That way you can just survive, keep doing a little bit of consistent damage here and there, and you'll be right as rain, and you'll beat this no problem. Again, this was one of my most enjoyable floors, I think, out of any of the towers. So guys, that is it. You will not see another video from me over the tower until we get tier 4, which might not be until Lost Ark 2 2030. So guys, I will see you on the next video. If anything in this video helped you out, make sure like the video for me, and consider subscribing to the channel and joining the Discord. We have an awesome positive community over there, so I hope to see you in there. And if I don't, I'll probably still see you on the next video.